Tesla's crash dummies are you. Apple's car is not coming soon. Samsung's return policy is a hot mess, and a drone with claws. Ugh. All that and a whole lot more coming up on Tech News Today.
This is Twit. Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1596, recorded Monday, September 12th, 2016. This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Gazelle, the online marketplace for buying and selling your used gadgets. Shop from a variety of certified pre-owned electronics or trade one in for cash. Give new life to a used device. Visit gazelle.com today. And by Wealthfront. Wealthfront is a low-cost automated investment service and the most sophisticated way to invest your money. So whether you've got millions or you're just starting out, visit wealthfront.com/TNT and sign up to get your free personalized investment portfolio. That's wealthfront.com/TNT. And by Zerto, virtual replication and disaster recovery technology that gives you the confidence to keep your business moving forward no matter what comes your way. Zerto empowers you to protect and recover your IT assets, move to the cloud, and know that you're ready for anything. Get a free readiness assessment for your data center at confidencecio.com. Hello and welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we talk about everything you need to know that happened today in technology. I am Megan Morrone. Jason Howell is at TechCrunch Disrupt. Today we're going to talk to him a little bit later in the show, but joining me right now is Owen J.J. Stone. Oh, doctor. Thanks for joining
Touchdown. Oh, wrong show. I'm supposed to be paying attention to you. Technology, technology.
I know.
I got you.
You agreed to come on a Monday night. You could have said no. I would have been sad, but...
How could I deny you? I don't know how I could do it, so I couldn't figure it out, so I'm here.
You're here.
That's just how it works.
Yes, you're the second person I've talked to today in a football jersey. Leo already headed to his game, but we're going to talk about the news. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Tesla announced a free over-the-air update for its Autopilot feature, which has including a new type of radar that might have saved the life of Josh Brown, the man who died in the Model S crash earlier this year. In a blog post on their site, the company says the newest version will include more advanced signal processing to create a picture of the world around using the onboard radar. Inattentive drivers will also be locked out of the new features, and the updates will go live in a few weeks. Last time I talked to you, Owen, that was when I claimed that a Tesla Autopilot drove a man to the hospital who was having a heart attack, and you suspected that was not accurate, and you were right. What do you think about these updates?
Well, first of all, I think that it's a really cheap way to have people guinea pig your devices and your things that you have. Why aren't there like 1 million hours of testing or whatever they do? Like Google's been trying to do this for years, right? And they don't really have people in them besides the engineer that sits there, but they're not test dummying customers. Like Tesla should have this sewn up and locked down before they just start turning on everybody's car willy-nilly. Because first of all, these are rich people that can afford this car. So you're just putting rich people's lives at risk like that. I don't like it. I think it's silly. I think it's not good business practice, personally.
You're right. They're getting all this data from they call it a real-time fleet learning system. That's what they say. They don't say like putting rich people's lives on the line for their profit. I don't think that would sell quite as well.
They're test dummies, right? I mean, seriously, like what else is it? Besides, you have people spend $100,000 on a vehicle, then you say, go test my products. Oh, I'm going to turn some of them on. You'll think that you're cool and special, and you deserve them because you could afford this car. And if you happen to die or something bad happens, we'll apologize and do an update for everybody else. Like, it's just weird.
It's weird, but you have to admit that, the amount of people that have died in a Tesla is nothing compared to the amount of people that die in car accidents just from their own inattentiveness while driving.
Because how many people are told that they could turn their car and their car is going to drive them to the moon by itself and they don't have to do it themselves? It hasn't happened as much because not as many people own a Tesla. There haven't been that many hours of this driving. Don't give me tomatoes of the number of deaths per capita. That doesn't equal out. That's not a fair assessment per se. It sounds good, but legally, It's not correct, I don't think.
Well,
they're guinea pigs.
I'm not talking about legally. I'm talking about statistically. Like the guy playing Pokemon Go on my commute this morning next to me, instead of paying attention, I think someone might have told him his car was driving itself, but he wasn't even in a Tesla. So what I'm saying is that self-driving cars cannot come soon enough for me. So however they're testing them, it's fine with me.
Because you don't have a Tesla.
No, but my boss and the person who runs this network does, but he doesn't really use that feature. I mean, and he doesn't watch a movie while he's driving either.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I feel like they should just have a test track that they have this car looping like 24/7, 365, run on the power of the sun and figure out what works with what and then come out with it. So that's all.
Well, Tesla stock went up with the news, so I think people are excited about it.
Everything Elon says, stock goes up. He can come out and say, I'm talking about socks, and socks will sell out next week. So it doesn't really matter what he says right now. Everybody's on board.
Self-putting on socks. Now that's an idea.
There you go.
Whose time has come. Well, a few months ago, we told you about new features that Instagram was planning to employ to fight harassment. 2 of those features are going live today, giving users the ability to block certain keywords from their comments. You can either choose the keywords or you can use their default lists of words to block. Now, Instagram has seen some abuse, but not as much as Twitter. Maybe they're thinking getting these features in before there's a huge problem is the answer. Do you think that this is a free speech issue?
No, yes. I mean, no matter what you do. Okay, let's put it this way. It's a free speech issue in general, but in the privacy of my own page or my own comment section, I have the right to not like something that someone says. I have the right to not be spammed because these companies can't protect me from spam. So yes and no, but in your own personal domain, if you want to take the time to filter out someone calling you a doofus, McGoofus, then you could go ahead and put that in there.
I am totally going to put doofus, McGoofus on
Good, because I was going to comment on one of your pictures. I was going to slip it in there on you. But I mean, it's one of those things I feel like everybody's so sensitive right now and everything's such a big deal. But at the same time, there's bullying and there's a lot more youth on these apps and stuff now. And maybe if parents with their kids can go through them and filter out certain things, that'll make it a more enjoyable experience for them. So I'm not against it. I think it's something that has to be done. That's one of the problems with Twitter. There's no accountability. There's no checks in place. People just run around willy-nilly trying to destroy people on Twitter. So I guess it's a good thing, even though I don't like it because of free speech.
Well, I know you spend a lot of time on Twitter and Instagram. You're active on both. Do you find do you have a different community in either of the social networks? And is one more or less kind?
Instagram is favorable to Facebook, where people feel like they can be checked or found per se, because they're putting up images of their life and things like that. Like it's a very niche kind of thing, unless they're like one of those meme people. Whereas Twitter, you can get mad and start up a new account like that and be an egghead and then just start ripping on somebody and have no fear or care about them finding out who you are, what you got going on. People are much more brazen on Twitter than they are anywhere else as far as bullying and trolling are online.
I agree. And Scooter X in our chat room is saying the speech is still free. You're just shouting into the void, which is totally true. Like I don't believe blocking someone is against free speech. I don't think blocking, you're seeing certain terms. As long as I'm doing it myself, I have the control of it myself. I get to decide what I see or don't see. I totally agree with you. It's like when we used to all have our own personal blogs. Like I would delete comments. I mean, I'm okay with putting up criticism, but if someone is hateful or just using words that I just don't want to see, I'm okay with deleting those.
I drove by a KKK rally one time. I could have stopped and enjoyed the message, but I chose to keep on moving. So it's the same thing. You can either stand outside and listen to someone speaking, or let's say you went to watch a movie and you don't like the message. You can get up and leave and go away from it. So it's the same thing. We try to add more onto it because it's online, but the world kind of works that way too. If you're here, if someone's yelling at you in the street, just walk away. Mm-hmm. So
I agree. Well, I tried to use the comment feature earlier today, and it just looks like the servers are overloaded. You have to update Instagram, and then you touch on the gear icon, and then you scroll down to comments, and it just said you can't do it right now. So I guess everyone's trying to delete certain words from their comments. So.
After all that pinching and zooming that people were doing for no odd reason, I guess the servers just couldn't handle all this word taken out. That is the silliest thing. I saw you earlier. I was watching you and Uncle Leo. And the point of zooming in on a picture, okay, cool. I'm trying to see the cookie on the table. What in the world is the point of zooming in on a video that I can't just turn and watch full screen? I just want to watch some of these videos without squinting at this little box. Can't we just pinching and zooming does nothing for me? Some of these videos are real funny and I'm trying to watch them. And I got like 4 people huddling around a phone looking at this little middle section of my phone to try and watch the video. It's silly. Come on, Instagram. Get yourselves together. Pinching on a video? What purpose? What purpose?
Just to say you can? I don't know. But you're right. You're right. Well, the New York Times says Apple is rethinking its strategy on self-driving cars. 3 anonymous sources told the Times that dozens of engineers have been laid off and told that Apple was, quote, rebooting the car project. Also, as of August 29th, Silicon Beats reports that Apple was not on the DMV's list of companies that have received self-driving car testing permits in California. So I don't know. It's like we follow the Apple rumors so much, and we heard there was a car. There's a lot of evidence to the car. They've hired people, but maybe they've fired people, but we don't know for sure. I don't know. What do you think about the Apple car?
They better make it. They're not doing anything with their phones. I haven't had a new MacBook Pro in 5 years. I mean, I'm just saying they need to do something to back up all this magic and courage that they pitch to the world. Maybe they're just doing it on a test loop and they don't want to take it out to the world and they're trying to do a sneak move on people so they can announce it with a little bit of fervor. Maybe they took my idea and they have like their own internal track that they're doing. They can't even get Apple CarPlay to work right, most of the cars. I mean, it's been promised in my Hyundai Sonata for like 4 years now and I've been waiting for it. I don't know what they're doing. I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean,
so when it comes to cars, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think any of us know, but we like to guess. Google's apparently not having an easy time at it either. They can't find a partner. They're suffering from lack of focus, and they're not getting a bunch of rich people to pay them to test their cars, to be test dummies. No one's signing up for that project, unfortunately.
Well, somebody's doing it. They're about to start that fleet of we're firing our Uber drivers in Pittsburgh next month, right?
Someone is
Volvo.
Yeah, Volvo is the winner here. I mean, I think that they're the farthest ahead in this game, which is funny because you think of I don't know, like I thought Volvo was over. You know,
you know the difference is number one, they're one of the safest cars in the world, commercial cars that they make. So they've got that going for themselves for people that just want to be safe. Secondly, you know what they get to do for their job? Focus on cars. The Alphabet company is talking about phones and apps and dogs and cookies, the moon. Like, they've got so much stuff going on. It's hard to say, oh, we're going to get this car going. And I'm sure they're ahead of most other people. But again, they're testing things to make sure that it's right. They don't seem like they want to put people's lives on the line, even if it's 1 or 5 lives, to get their product out. So again, that's the model I'm used to. That's the model I'm accustomed to. When you got a 10,000 machine and a robot's going to come in. Again, human error, I get. But if a machine does it, I'm trying to own half of the Alphabet company. So test all you want. But Volvo is focused. That's all they got to do. They don't sell that many cars, and they're looking at a way to have somebody come in and buy a fleet of them, like I guess those pre-orders for Tesla that Uber did or something like that. I don't know if that's real or not.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But they're giving out free rides for a month. So we'll see how that works.
Well, TechCrunch Disrupt is happening in San Francisco as we speak. Later on the show, we're going to talk to Jason Howell, who is there. But one technology that doesn't appear to be disrupting tech as much as its hype would have us believe, that's bots. The head of Facebook Messenger said today that bots are overhyped and underpowered. Now, these are some of the first public comments made by the head of Facebook Messenger, David Marcus, since Facebook launched their bot program back in April. Version 1.2 of the platform launched today with the ability to accept payments. So, Owen, are you excited about buying and selling things with bots?
So, you criticize the bots, and then you wanted me to put money into I'm not putting money nowhere into Facebook. Facebook's lucky they get money for Facebook ads out of me that aren't even legit or work half the time. Y'all can't even get your trending topics right, and I'm supposed to believe in your bots and put money into stuff? No, thank you. I'll go to Fandango and buy my tickets. Thank you very much. I'm not signing up. Get your bots together. Like, your bots don't work. They're not real. You give people, again, took time, effort. You give somebody 2 weeks to go make apps or something. Of course they're going to be crappy. What do you expect them to be? Not good. You don't care. You just want to put it out there so you can say something's new and fancy, and it's not. Get your stuff together. Make better bots. Then maybe I'll care. But right now, I could give a bot about their bots.
You said get your bot in line, right?
Yeah.
So the 2-week thing is when they launched them in April, I guess they only gave developers 2 weeks to show off something. And what we saw in April was pretty horrible. It was like a cat that was supposed to tell you the weather, and then you'd sign up, and like 4 hours later, it would tell you what the weather was, maybe sometimes. And so it was not a good example of what they can do. But Marcus was saying that this is early days, and they're getting better. And I mean, and I do trust Facebook with like payments. I just think that they are a big enough company. Like recently, I'm not a Venmo person. Are you a Venmo person, Owen?
I have Venmo'd in the past. I got money stacked up on Venmo that I need to get out, apparently. But, I trust Venmo more than I would Facebook. They've been around longer. They've been doing it. Yeah. Again, you really trust Facebook?
I do.
Facebook lies a lot.
You're right that lies. I don't know. That's
okay.
Harsh.
Go back and look at your trending topics 3 weeks ago when that Volvo we were just talking about was the #1 worldwide trending topic. The new Volvo was the worldwide trending topic. When people were getting shot, stuff was on fire, football was coming back into town, Trump rode a dinosaur, and a Volvo was the #1 worldwide trending topic. The all new. Come on. Like you're selling ads against something that you get for clickbait. It's not cool, bro.
So, okay. So I wouldn't say that's lying. I would say that they're such a giant company that they need to get their bots in order.
Then sell ads the way you sell ads. Do not sell it to me as trending topics because that is a lie. It is not a trending topic. The world is not talking about this, but that's how you're billing it to me. And I could go on for other things. That's just the most recent thing. When they said they don't have people doing their algorithm, and then they do have people doing their algorithm, and then they made a mistake, and then they got cookies. They don't have cookies. I mean, I don't know what's going on over there. Facebook, I'm just saying, I don't want to give them money yet until their bots have fulfilled their dream of goodness and get better.
Well, what you're saying is you don't want to give them your credit card. Because, I mean, these are outside companies that are the same people that are advertising. They're going to put ads on Facebook and say, like, hey, it's Mother's Day and you look like someone who might buy flowers for someone. And then here's how you can do it. And it will send you into Messenger and then just press this button and we already have your credit card number and blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah.
And then you're giving Facebook money. Obviously, they'll take a cut. They're not doing this out of the kindness of their own heart.
Nope.
Okay.
I just want them to be better. That's all. I'm just busting their chops. I just want them to do better.
Yeah, I want them to do better too, but I feel like they are so big that they are held to a different standard. I mean, talking about the story last week of the terror of war, that they deleted that picture of the girl off of Facebook because their algorithm said, well, this is a naked picture of a child. We have to get rid of it. But everyone noticed that and they saw it and they put it back up and they said they were sorry. They said it was a mistake. Like they're so big they can't make mistakes because we're all watching.
They can't make some mistakes. That's a mistake that people understand. Saying one thing and doing the exact opposite is another kind of mistake. And so as much as you want to give them the benefit of the doubt for being huge, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt of being so big. When you're so big, you should get things right because you're the leader. When they get things right, we praise them. And Facebook, they put a drone in the sky. They're trying to give the world internet. So when you mess up, do better. Apparently.
Yes, I'm in agreement with that. Do better, yes. We could all take that advice.
True story. I could do better.
Yes, me too. Well, after the break, Christina Warren from Gizmodo is here to catch us up on the hottest news about the Galaxy Note 7. See what I did there? But first, let's take a minute to thank a sponsor for those who are interested in buying a phone that probably won't catch fire. The episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Gazelle, the trusted online marketplace for buying and selling used electronics. Trade in your old device for cash, buy a certified pre-owned one, or you can do both. For trade-in, simply visit gazelle.com, find your device, and get an instant quote. Shipping is free and payment is fast. Let's say you've returned your Note 7 for a refund. You might want to buy a certified pre-owned device. Gazelle has a variety of iPhones, including the iPhone 6S and the iPhone 6S Plus, iPads, and Samsung Galaxy phones to choose from. Each device is fully inspected, backed by a 30-day return policy, and sold without a carrier contract. Go to gazelle.com, see what your old device device is worth and check out the selections of certified pre-owned devices today. Gazelle is now providing financing on all devices by Affirm. Simply provide your basic information, get instantly approved, and pay it off in 3, 6, or 12 months. Easy monthly payments can be made through bank transfer, check, or debit card. Just select financing with Affirm at checkout. Gazelle also offers a 12-month warranty for cell phones and iPads powered by Assurance solutions that cover water damage, cracked screens, hardware defects, and more. Help is available 24/7 to process claims and return your device ASAP. Devices are available in good and excellent condition. Good condition shows some gentle signs of wear and tear, but offers consumers great prices on still great devices. All devices have been put through a rigorous 30-point inspection process, ensuring that they're in perfect working order. Devices available for support by major carriers AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint. Give new life to used electronics. Trade in for cash or buy certified pre-owned. Visit gazelle.com today. It's been a little over a week since Samsung's voluntary recall of the Galaxy Note 7. So far, it's been pretty messy. Joining us to talk about some of the frustrations customers are having with returning their phones is Christina Warren, reporter at Gizmodo. Welcome, Christina.
Hey guys, how are you?
So I'm doing well. So what were customers originally told to do with their phones?
I mean, it depends on where they bought the phone and where they bought it from. So, Samsung originally said, if you bought your phone from us, call 1-800-SAMSUNG or whatever, or take it back to your carrier store. But what ended up happening is some customers, if they bought things online from a carrier and they try to take it back to a store, some of the stores are saying, no, you've got to return this to Samsung. And then they would call Samsung, and Samsung would say, no, you've got to take this back to your carrier. And so there's been, at least for dozens of people that I've talked to in my reporting, a lot of confusion about not only how they go about returning their phones, but what the process will be for exchanging it for a different phone, especially if they want another Galaxy Note 7. Because right now, there is not a date yet in the United States for when new Galaxy Note 7s that are corrected will be there. Now, that's understandable. It's going to take Samsung some time to make new phones that are going to be able to not have this battery problem. They sold more than 2 million of these things. It's going to take them time to ramp up production. But we don't yet have a date as when those fixed phones are going to be in stores. Samsung saying soon, but they haven't given a date. They've given a date in some countries. They haven't in the United States. Carriers don't have any they genuinely don't know. I talked to all 3 major carriers. I talked to T-Mobile, I talked to AT&T, and I talked to Verizon. They don't know when they're going to get them. AT&T actually issued a statement today, finally kind of saying, bring them back to the store, exchange it out for a different phone, and then once we get it in, you can exchange it for Galaxy Note 7 if you want that. Depending on your carrier, you might be able to get a loaner phone, but that process is also proving to be difficult for consumers to kind of work out.
Yeah, the loaner phone seems necessary because, if I'm, if I'm given the choice between give up my only phone and wait, I might just keep it around and think, oh, well, only 30 or 40 people, have gotten hurt. I'm going to just take my chances. So
yeah. No, you're exactly right. And that's sort of the problem. And one of the things I've heard, and this has been concerning to me, because when I started reporting this story, it was on Friday. It was before the CSPC, the Consumer Safety Product Commission, released their statement and said that they were working with Samsung on an official recall. When I started work on my story Friday, it ended up publishing after the recall had been announced, or the official, collaboration had been announced. But I started working on it beforehand, and even at that point, I was hearing from customers saying that the carriers were basically trying to talk them into keeping phones, and basically saying to them, only 35 of these have had issues, and just hold on to it, and we'll have them in a few weeks, and you can bring it back. By the time the recall happened on Friday, you should think, okay, at this point, carriers should know better. They should no longer be telling people that the CSPC and Samsung are both saying, shut these things off. Do not use these phones. I'm getting emails from people, on Saturday, on Sunday, today, where they're still going into carrier stores, and carriers are telling them, hold on to the phone. We don't know when we're going to get new ones, but you're going to be fine because it's only been a few people. And that's really, really, really concerning.
Owen, did you have a point?
Well, now that's annoying to hear, obviously. But they're a victim of their own success. The phone is doing so well, they're sold out. It's understandable that they can't get replacements. But Jiminy Christmas, just have everybody bring the phone in and give them S7 and start making the Samsung Note 8 and just skip this 7. Don't even make new 7s. Just start making the 8 and have it come out after Christmas, because you're kind of beat now, because people are going to be so upset and have a bad taste in their mouth, even though the phone is a resounding hit and people love it. Now they just think in their mind that I'm going to catch on fire possibly, and they're getting pushback. Just give them S7s and keep it moving. You're going to lose people having these kind of little tiffs over not helping them.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the problems that I've talked to a number of people, and this is even a case when they bought them directly from Samsung. You know, I spoke to one woman who ordered 2 phones directly from Samsung, and Samsung said, well, you can return the phones to us, wait for us to give you a credit, and then you can order 2 new phones. So it wasn't even an instance where they're saying, well, we'll go ahead and send you replacement phones when we have them and you send us back your broken phones. It's saying, no, you're going to have to go through a return, wait to get credited, you know, the $1,800 or whatever she'd spent on 2 phones. Once we process the return, we'll credit you, then you can place a new order. So, you know, there's definitely something to be said, I think, about the customer service component. And Owen, you and I, we were on Twit a little over a week ago, and we were talking about the recall. And at the time, I'd actually said I thought that they were handling things pretty well, and I thought that the Consumer Reports was overreacting a little bit. I need to now go on the record, now that I'm on this show, I need to retract my statement and say I was wrong, because learning more about what's happened, we've obviously seen more incidents happen since that happened, hearing from the CSPC, and frankly seeing how this recall has been handled, where there's so much confusion, where people are taking phones into stores and being told one thing, calling the same carrier on the phone being told another, calling Samsung and hearing a third thing, not knowing how they can switch out their phone. Some people are concerned because, you know, like you said, Megan, they might not have a phone. So if they either feel forced to get a replacement phone, maybe they get an S7 Edge or something like that. Maybe they don't want an S7. Maybe they wanted the Note 7, and they feel like, well, I'm forced to get this phone exchange because this one's not safe. And then the carrier is saying to them, well, if we don't get these replacements in stock by the end of September, you know, within this 2-week period, then you're going to be stuck with this other phone you bought. Or if you buy like a $50 or $100 replacement phone, you know, to hold you over, if we don't have the replacements in stock by then, you might be stuck on the hook for this phone. And so right now there's a lot of confusion. Samsung has, in my opinion, not done a very good job about being transparent. I will give credit to Samsung Australia, who has done a very good job. They have basically said that they're going to be getting shipments in, I believe, starting on September 21st, and they are going to be marking, you know, phones on the store shelves with an S that will be corrected. They've also sent messages and notes to every single Samsung Galaxy Note 7 owner in Australia saying your phone's being recalled. So I think that the way that this is being handled does differ from region to region. I've heard from people in other regions who are also experiencing difficulties, and then in some places they're hearing better things. So, you know, I like you're right, Owen. Like, this is partially Samsung's a victim of their own success because they did sell so many of these things, but it doesn't mean that they can be not transparent about the process. And I think that the real problem is that the carriers don't know when they're getting new stock in, and then the process for doing these exchanges is a lot more complicated than it should be. And my big fear with that is that if people are hitting roadblocks and they're not going to be able to, they feel like it's going to be such a pain to replace their phone, they might not. And right now, that's really dangerous. When the CSPC and when Samsung are saying power these things off, when we're seeing reports nearly every day now of something terrible happening with these phones, you know what? I don't care how many, you know, what the odds might be in your favor. Turn the phone off, turn it in, get something else. Because they're just not safe to use.
I would love to tell every person to, first of all, if you bought this phone in full on your credit card, dispute it with your card carrier.
Totally.
And if you want to hold the phone till they trade the phone in, just make sure they don't have their money. Then someone's going to call you and ask you why. They can try to dispute it, but you tell them you have a time bomb in your pocket. And if you're going into the store and you're trying to exchange your phone, I highly suggest you have another phone that doesn't blow up, apparently, and record that interaction so that when they tell you that they said something that they didn't say, you have it down documented. I just tell them up front, hey, I'm going to record this conversation. I was told to bring the phone back in. You're telling me to go to them. I just want to know what I need to do. Because people need to start being held accountable instead of just towing the corporate line and pushing people around. Basically what it is a shell game. You know, you got A, B, and C. C's not ready yet. So A and B are kind of playing this game to buy time so that C can get ready. That's not really fair for people that paid a lot of money or rented or signed into a contract or whatever you did, you get trapped in with these phones. They need to do better, much better.
So you said that they're going to put an S on the new phones to mean safe, I guess.
Right, yes, yeah.
And then, so there's a waiting list. You also write that there's a waiting list for these new phones. I mean, there's a lot of people that still, they want the phone back. So, we've heard that the FCC says you can't bring these on planes, you can't put them in your checked luggage. How are they going to know? I mean, are they going to check every one to make sure it has the S on it?
That's why I said they need the S8. They need the Note 8. They need to just scrap the 7.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a really interesting point, and I'm not sure. I mean, the S is going to go on the box, so I don't know how you're going to, connote on the phone itself that it's different, because it's going to look the same unless you can put something in the firmware, and basically do like about this phone, and it gives you a message of safe. I don't know. There was a conspiracy theory on Reddit, and I believe this was disproven, where someone in Samsung France was saying that they were going to remotely disable the phones. I think that's been disproven. I don't think that's going to be the case. But frankly, depending on what the CSPC says and depending on what it seems like the threat might be, it might get to the point where that might have to be something that they consider doing, frankly, is remotely disabling those phones so that, people feel safe to have them allowed on airplanes. I don't know the solution though, because that's a great point. How are you going to tell the difference between a good phone and a bad phone? Visually, they're going to look the same. And
the TSA is checking firmware now. I don't trust them to do that.
No, they
can't check shoes.
Exactly. They can't check shoes. I mean, they're already supposed to not let people on with batteries that are below a certain, percentage, and they don't do that. So, yeah, I don't know how they're going to do spot checks. I mean, I guess pessimistically, my thought is they're probably not. They're probably going to make announcements, and then anybody who sees a Samsung is going to be like, "Oh, is that the new phone?" And if you've got the new phone, you're going to be like, "No, that's not the new phone. That's last year's phone. It's totally different. This is safe. Don't worry, guys." But yeah, I don't know how they're going to be able to prove that. I think Samsung has got a real mess for themselves, unfortunately, and obviously, I think the biggest concern right now, though, is how they can get these phones replaced quickly and efficiently, whether it's giving people loaners, whether it's exchanging them for Galaxy S7s, whether it's, getting, the new stock of the fixed phones out there. We need to get the phones that were sold, out of people's hands, because at this point, there are too many stories. We're literally seeing them, like I was saying, almost every day, bad things happening, and that's not a risk. I don't think that consumers should be taking just for a cell phone. It's not worth it.
Well, between hoverboards and this phone, I mean, is this the future with lithium ion batteries? I mean, we're just trying to get bigger batteries, and I mean, do you think this is not the last device that's going to explode on us?
Definitely not the last device. I think that this is going to be really interesting to see how this is handled, and sort of, we saw this with hoverboards a lot because there wasn't, they didn't have the UL certification, and so they were just coming in overseas and they weren't checked. I mean, this is a slightly different case because this is a company that has a history of making very good products and making, billions of batteries. Samsung has their own, battery component. They are one of the largest battery suppliers in the world. And so, we've seen battery recalls before in the past. I don't think this is going to be the last time we've seen this happen, but I think that how this is handled will probably inform what happens next time. But yeah, you bring up a great point, and I think these are things we have to think about when we use these devices, and especially as we want to get into more powerful batteries, is when we do things like quick charging and having higher capacity batteries, because these things are important. You've got to kind of understand if the technology is not just right, it could be really dangerous, and that's a scary thing to think about.
Maybe if they did a little bit more testing and didn't put it into people's hands so quick, we might have known that one or two of those phones might have got too hot. The R&D wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm. We just need everything as fast as possible and the battery to last as long as possible. Well, Christina Warren, thank you so much for joining us. Christina is a reporter at Gizmodo. She is at Film Girl on Twitter. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Christina.
Yes.
Did you pour some out for the plug?
I did. I forced them out for the plug for you, dude. I did.
I love you too. Just checking.
I absolutely did. Bye, guys.
Well, definitely, if you missed the twit that Owen and Christina were on a couple weeks ago, do not miss that, because both of you are hilarious as usual. Now we have some feedback. Dave Sutherland, as long as we're also talking about the iPhone and the plug, Dave Sutherland writes about our discussion last week about swimming with your new iPhone. The ads say it's water resistant, and everybody knows water resistant is not waterproof. Apple's obviously grasping for desirable attributes to describe this thing, and he will not be getting one anytime soon. That's what he says. So, yeah, I guess that's another thing. I mean, I do think that it's, Leo and I discussed this today. I mean, you don't want to go swimming with your iPhone, but I guess
you do want to go swim with your iPhone. I got pictures on my Instagram. I go to the water park, go to the port, go to the beach, and I got a case on my phone. It's waterproof. I go into water, I snorkel, I take pictures of beautiful things. And here's the thing that makes me so mad about Apple. Okay, they make a watch. Now this watch has got the newest technology. They even use the speaker to empty out the water. Oh, it's sealed. It's waterproof. Why can't you use your own technology on the phone that you just made? Well, and make the phone waterproof?
Because it has a lot of more holes in it. That's why.
The more holes. If you could plug up one hole, you can plug up two holes. I'm not saying I made a spaceship, but I'm not stupid. If you can plug up one hole, and now you got dual surround sound, so you can pump water out the other thing. You got rid of the headphone jack. That hole's gone. You got less holes. The button isn't even really a button anymore. It's just you have lost holes. If you made the technology, I'm trying not to get loud. You made the technology for that watch. That is spectacular. You showed me the little video where it pumping water out with sound.
Yep.
The phone should be waterproof up to 50 meters. You have the technology. Do it.
Okay. Well, it sounded like you were trying to say to plug up all the holes. So you want them to get rid of the lightning connector now?
Apparently, we're in a wireless world. Why do we even have that wire? We should have the little thing with a little plate like you do for the watch.
Yeah. Next year, I hear.
Yeah. 8. The newer, thinner, blacker, darker, jetter, blacker.
Right. It's going to be another color that we want next year. Black is this year.
Right.
Well, after the break, Jason Howell is here to tell us about one company who is disrupting sound. But first, let's take a minute to thank Wealthfront, the sponsor of this episode. You invest for the long term for you or your family's financial health, but trying to do it yourself, especially trying to do it the right way, is complex and time-consuming. Luckily, there's Wealthfront. Traditional advisors charge huge fees, between 1% and 3% of what they manage. With Wealthfront, you pay 1/4% a year. That's 25 basis points, 0 commissions, and no hidden fees. That's less than $5 a month to invest a $30,000 account. There are no additional charges for any of Wealthfront's services. You can get started investing today with as little as $500. Unlike other financial advisors, Wealthfront won't bog you down with dozens of questions. They've simplified their risk identification process, which allows you to begin investing sooner. It only takes a few minutes to sign up, goes right to work, monitoring your portfolios around the clock, and takes action as soon as an opportunity arises. Wealthfront portfolios are based on modern portfolio theory, and they're designed to adjust according to your personal risk tolerance while staying diversified and tax efficient. Wealthfront is transparent and accessible. You can view and track all your accounts in one place. Wealthfront can track both of your Wealthfront and your non-Wealthfront bank and brokerage accounts that they'll provide in a summary of all your assets. You can see every trade that Wealthfront makes on your behalf in your dashboard, on your desktop, or with their mobile app. Wealthfront recently introduced their 529 college savings plan, allowing you to invest after-tax dollars, much like a Roth IRA, and you can save for your child or your grandchild's higher education expenses. Wealthfront manages almost $3 billion in client assets, and it's growing rapidly every day. What are you waiting for? Invest in your future today with Wealthfront. Visit wealthfront.com/TNT to sign up and get your free personalized investment portfolio. You'll see the customized allocation they recommend for your profile. And just for Twit listeners, if you sign up to invest, Wealthfront will manage your first $15,000 entirely free of charge for life. Join the many Twit fans who have seen huge success with Wealthfront and claim your offer today at wealthfront.com/TNT. Jason Howell is at TechCrunch Disrupt today, and he had a chance to look at a company called Soundspace. Let's see what he found.
Hey, what's up, Megan? I'm down here at TechCrunch Disrupt out in windy San Francisco, but I got to escape indoors to check out some really cool sound manipulation hardware using the HTC Vive. It's called Soundspace. Let's check it out. All right, I am standing in an undisclosed location with Ray and Mike from Soundspace. How's it going, Ray?
Great. How are you?
Doing awesome. And Mike, thank you for talking with us and showing us your technology.
Thank you for having us. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, this is really cool technology. I'm a music nerd, been a music nerd for a really long time, so I'm always kind of looking for new ways to control music, and that's exactly what Soundspace is all about. Tell us a little bit about kind of the birth of Soundspace and what it's all about.
Sure. So Soundspace kind of came out of the fact that I was an engineering major but a music minor, and kind of a combination of those two passions. Started creating some electronic musical instruments in college, and somewhere along the lines, I think the third version of an instrument I created was Soundspace, and then recently we've just ported it to virtual reality, so now you'll be able to create music in virtual reality and interact with virtual sounds too.
So, Mike, this obviously it started differently, though. You were not doing this with the HTC Vive. When you initially started, you were doing it with a glove system. How did that work prior?
So actually, the very first system we created was using these gloves that we sort of had strings attached to. And the idea was like these strings there was a sensor at the bottom of the string that would know where the end point of the string was. And we sort of hacked that together as like a pseudo 3D tracking mechanism. And then we were lucky enough to get in touch with a company called Ascension that makes these 3D electromagnetic trackers for medical uses. I'm not entirely sure what the uses are, but it definitely wasn't making music. But we just decided to sew them into a pair of gloves, and those were actually really cool because they gave us 3D position and orientation tracking. So we sort of just used that and had a 2D interface that the musician would look at to know where their hands were in the 3D environment. And that was the first prototype before we ported over to the Vive.
I mean, the Vive, the whole virtual reality aspect of this really kind of takes it and makes it a little bit more obvious. Like when you put the goggles on, you start working in the environment. I mean, you want that to be intuitive. Do you think that this is the better direction to go now?
Absolutely, and I think both in terms of intuitiveness, how easy it is to pick up, and also just in terms of costs. Like the sensor we were using before was pretty expensive, but like Mike mentioned, we were already kind of doing virtual reality just without virtual reality, without the headset. Really, we created a virtual space so you could interact with these gloves, and now it's just we can see it in front of our faces and actually see the space and where your hands are relative to that space. So.
So I guess explain a little bit about what people will be looking at. I mean, we were playing around with it beforehand. I got to go in totally, without very much walkthrough at all. We kind of basic walkthrough of controls and everything. And I mean, I was able to jump in, and I probably wasn't the best musician in the world using the technology, but it was pretty easy to pick up. What are the main components of kind of the interface and what you're doing with it?
Sure. So like you said, we're really trying to focus on making it super intuitive and super just kind of like common sense. Like I think when we started this idea, the question we were asking is like, what if you could just hold sound and it was like a sound object between your hands and just manipulate it? And I think that's really the direction that we want to go, which is like creating these really physical, fun, interactive sound objects that allow you to express yourself. But what's there right now is kind of a series of boxes that you can place your hands into, and each box controls different sounds. You can create effects and control effects within those boxes, and really play notes with the trackpad and use the triggers. And we also have air drums that you can play around with and use it like you expect it to be used. So. Okay. Yes, you have to hold it while you're hitting it.
And you schooled me when you played around with it a little bit, Mike. So, and I've noticed, I watched a little bit of the demo online, and that was with the gloves aspect. And then now we're in kind of the VR space with this. And it's all based around a single clip of music, let's say, a single performance. How does this scale out beyond just this one, let's say, project into other, people's kind of customized projects?
So I think one of the things that we envisioned for this project is sort of having it be more of a platform. So right now it is sort of geared towards a single piece because we've written this piece, in conjunction with using the gloves. So it's sort of tailored around that. But ideally, musicians can come in, they set up their own custom VR spaces in the Soundspace platform. They set up the boxes and the parameters or whatever instruments we have in the future exactly how they want. They interface it, whatever music creation tools they have. Maybe it's Ableton, maybe it's Reason, maybe it's whatever. And they sort of tailor it to their own workflow. And ideally they would have the ability to customize their own like physical space, or I guess virtual space in a sense, to how they wanted to play music. So that's one of the things we were like looking forward to.
So in that regard, you're thinking like almost like the DAW or the software that it's interfacing with is where the kind of variability of the sounds and the samples and all that kind of stuff are drawing from. This ends up becoming a control surface for it.
Yeah, I think for the time being, I think that people, VR is still very new, and I think that people are going to want to use the tools that they're familiar with, but especially as we move towards like this really intuitive kind of consumer product where we really want to transform anybody who's not even a musician into just like put these on and you can play music and you'll sound great. I think as we move towards that, we're going to be incorporating some of the native sound generation capabilities into our platform so that you won't need to hook it up with an Ableton or a Pro Tools to do some of those sounds. Yeah. So there's actually a band pass filter between your hands. So if you play a note, go and play a note, and then put your hands together. And if you go slide to the left.
Oh, I see.
And vibrato is twist.
Oh man,
So if you want to do a full like step bend, you twist both out.
what do you think about just like music production in general and what VR enables for this? Like, when I think of just a recording studio environment, for example, so much money has to go into, A, the space, B, the equipment to fill it, C, the capabilities of the engineer sitting behind the desk. But you end up in a world in VR where literally you can lay all that stuff out in a virtual sense and spread it out. Do you think that's kind of where all this stuff is heading right now? What do you think?
I think in some sense, but one of the coolest things about VR is that you don't have to limit yourself to the same types of setups that you see in like a real recording studio or real physical space, right? So one of the things that VR opens up is like the ability to have like crazy types of like music creation elements. Like, maybe it's like literally like what Ray mentioned, like a blob that you're holding and you're sort of twisting it to like create different sounds. And I think that's one of the areas that, people can be the most creative. That's one of the areas that we're definitely trying to explore.
Yeah, it's easy to get locked into the mindset of this is how it's always been done, so let's do this in a different format. And the reality is something like VR actually enables for you to create sound or manipulate sound in ways that like you wouldn't be able to do in the real sense.
Absolutely, and I think that it's a balance there because again, like how I mentioned, we want to build something familiar so that people can pick it up and they can integrate with their current music software, and also create familiar elements that they know maybe from a music studio like mixing boards and whatnot. But then like begin to expand on that and kind of stretch the user's mind as to what they could really be making it or how they could be making music in virtual reality. Because if you really think about it. There's so much potential. You have so many more degrees of freedom. You have so much more control. You have 3D space. You have like a whole world that you can literally shape to be whatever the hell you want. And you can do things like in real life, you can't just change the reverb of a physical room by like making the walls bigger and like changing the physical surface of the walls. But you can do that in virtual reality, and you can have completely virtualized environments that are flexible and really just awesome. So.
Yeah. I was very excited to try out this technology before I put the goggles on. And then afterwards, it's like my brain is like running in a million different directions. Like, man, you could do this, you could do that. It's really cool stuff. What is the next step? What's the direction that you guys are taking right now?
Sure. So I think right now we're here at TechCrunch looking for advisors and potentially investors so that we can really go full time on this project and roll out that prototype. Right now it is just kind of a demo running on our machine, but roll it out to all the Steam store, to all the online channels to get this out and just start getting people to use it, see what they think, get their ideas. Like you had great ideas. We're going to try to incorporate some of those. We'll probably take all the credit, but
that's all right. You can take that because then I get to use it later.
Absolutely. And then really just getting people to use it and just continuing to refine it to be what people want. So
excellent. Well, it was really exciting stuff, and I love kind of where it began and kind of where it's heading here. How long do you think it's going to be before people can get their hands on it?
Honestly, probably within a few months. Like I would say 6 months at most. And I think I mentioned earlier, but music is just the first step for us, and we really want to expand beyond that in the future and look towards just content creation in general and like what you can do with 3D workspaces in terms of allowing people to express their imagination and creativity. So,
all right, Ray, pleasure talking with you about Soundspace. Great. Mike, pleasure. Really cool stuff. Now apparently I have to get an HTC Vive because once this comes out, I have to manipulate my own music with this.
That was amazing. You can see all of Jason's interviews that he's done at TechCrunch Disrupt. It'll be a part of a live special that should be up later today or tomorrow. You can check that out at twit.tv/specials. Who wants a drone with arms? I do. You can find out more about that in a minute, but first let's thank Zerto, the sponsor of this episode. IT asset protection, disaster recovery, and cloud continuity for confident CIOs. That is Zerto. Now, confidence can make or break businesses in today's IT world. It can mean the difference between hesitation and action, success or irrelevance. Zerto's cloud-based business continuity solutions arm today's CIOs and IT pros with the confidence to know their systems are ready for anything. With Zerto, you can recover from downtime, test new technology, and move to the cloud in a matter of clicks, all while maintaining business continuity. Zerto's virtual replication technology gives you the power to simplify your migrations, switch to new infrastructure faster, and get quicker ROI in a matter of clicks. Know your data is protected by breakthrough hypervisor-based software that puts the power of continuous replication at your fingertips. Migrate to the cloud with no disruptions with enterprise-class software that empowers you to seamlessly and safely move between virtualized workloads, public, private, and hybrid clouds. Get complete, comprehensive data protection in one smart solution for BCDR across storage and hypervisors. You can recover from any disruption with checkpoints every few seconds. Protect and recover files, VMs, and applications from any point in time. See for yourself how Zerto simplifies your data replication and disaster recovery, plus get a free readiness assessment for your data center at confidentcio.com. That's confidentcio.com, and we thank Zerto for their support. Now, I am someone who has personally had her car totaled by an uninsured Domino's pizza driver, and I will tell you that delivery drones cannot be approved soon enough for me. But of course, it isn't enough for drones just to get to their destination. The drone has to have a way to deliver the item to our doorstep or to our open, waiting arms. And speaking of arms, a Japanese company has just invented a drone with arms. The PD-6B AW arm was announced at the International Drone Show in Las Vegas last week. And I want one. Owen, I know you don't like drones flying over your head, but what if they could give you pizza, and what if they had arms?
So being the humanitarian that I am and the better drone person than you, I would say this is a horrible idea unless there's a person stuck in a riptide and they want to use this drone to fish them out and maybe drop them a line and tow them back into shore. Otherwise, I already have to worry about eagles and hawks. I don't want to worry about a drone picking up my child and absconding with them now. It's just too much. It's just too much. But in search and rescue things, I can see something like this being an amazing attribute and tool.
Yeah, not to deliver pizza?
I mean, look, I understand you had an incident. Maybe you should move to that DiGiorno lifestyle and make it yourself.
I did. It wasn't my pizza. It wasn't my pizza. I was calmly driving home in my car. And
you didn't even get the benefit of the pizza.
No,
I'm sorry.
I don't order from Domino's. I didn't before he hit me, and I won't now either.
Well, then again, no, we don't need drones delivering our pizza, but
they're safer.
It's really cool. I saw someone last week using. They did drone surfing. And the drone was like one of those huge drones, and it was towing them like on the beach part. It was like whatever those little boards are, wakeboard, whatever.
Wakeboard, yeah.
And he was surfing. I was like, that's really cool. And I instantly thought that thing could save somebody's life. Throw a dinghy out there somewhere where they can't get reached or out there fast enough and tow somebody in slowly. So arms is just there you go, lifeguard. There you go. Boom. See, I'm out here saving lives. I already knew it. That's the first thing I thought. Amazing. Yes, arms. Yes, armed drones. Not for pizzas, because with an arm, it's just going to eat your pizza. Think about that. If it's got a little hand, next thing you know, they're going to be just eating your pizza.
You're right. You just reminded me again. I need to do better, Owen. I need to do better. And imagine someone being rescued.
Well, I'm a doctor and you're not, so I understand you're not thinking about saving lives like I am.
You are not a real doctor.
It doesn't matter what I'm real or not. It says it in my name. Look, doctor. It's like if you put doctor in front of the thing. Don't question me. I could definitely be a real doctor if I wanted to. I can go to school. You don't know. Don't judge me.
Okay. Well, once again. It has been wonderful. Doctor or not, you are a doctor of saying amazing things about technology. I will give you that. And I always appreciate you coming on. So where's the best place for people to find all of your work?
I get you so flustered because I talk crazy. Then you have to tone down and get back into reality. I apologize for frustrating you with my insanity. I'm on the internet at ODoctor on the Twitter. I'm on Facebook. You can go to IQMZ and check out my doc tech. I did 10 minutes on why Apple is a drug dealer and they got me trapped and I can't get out. And I did a Doc Tales with Leo Laporte, and I have a new Doc Tales coming up that is NSFW. So if you're an adult that doesn't have NSFW stuff in your life, then don't listen to it. But the one with Leo is great. But IQMZ has a whole bunch of fun stuff for you. And one day I'm going to be a doctor just so I can come back and tell you that I'm a real doctor.
Thank you, Owen, JJ Stone. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on. Take care.
Bye.
Jason will be back from TechCrunch Disrupt tomorrow. And, of course, TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UTC. That's at twit.tv/live. You can be part of the show by emailing us at tnt@twit.tv or leave us a short voicemail at 260-TNT-SHOW. You can also hit us up on Twitter. That's at TechNewsTodayTV. You can subscribe to the show at twit.tv/TNT. And if you want to tweet at me, I am at Megan Morrone. Thank you to our technical director, Kevin. Thank you to Burke for running the prompter. And thanks again, Kevin, because I think you're going to have to edit the show. I think actually you're doing all the jobs today. I don't know where everyone else is. It's just me, Burke, and Kevin here, apparently. And thanks to you for talking tech with us. We'll see you tomorrow.